Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. I'm Andy. We have Erin Helman here with us. She's the South High volleyball coach. Not only that, she is a runner, and she participated in the JFK 50-mile back in November, back last year. And we're going to get right into that and talk about that. But first, just to remind you all, this interview is brought to you by Community Free Clinic, making healthcare accessible to all uninsured citizens of Washington County, Maryland. Your health, their priority. So, Erin, you survived.
I did.
50-mile race. So I watched a video of it after we spoke a little bit out because I was intrigued. I wanted to know more about it. I knew a little bit just by hearing because I grew up in the Hagerstown Williamsport area, so everybody talks about it that time of year. I knew the race was huge, but when I saw the video of the start, I couldn't believe how many people. I also saw like little clips of videos from people that their personal videos and stuff like that, and the support that is out there at that early of a time is amazing to see. It's no wonder that so many people want to run it. It's probably a very uplifting experience. So my first question for you, after touching on that, are you going to do it again next year?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay. Well, we got time.
Yeah, I actually have been really burnt out. I don't know if I want to run anymore. Ever since then, I've probably gotten in maybe 20 miles total. Well, it's probably a little less than that. Well, maybe like 30.
That's a
lot. Like 30 miles since.
Yeah.
I just haven't, I just been burnt out. Like my body just was done. Like I just didn't want to do it anymore. But I have been slowly getting back into it. So I don't know. I'm going to start with 5Ks and 10Ks and see where that takes me. But I did have somebody at the end of the race tell me that I had to run it with them this year, so we'll see.
Well, you got a lot of time to decide, and rightfully so, you deserve the break. I mean, 50 miles is a lot.
It is.
So what was your final time?
It was 10 hours, 45 minutes, and 23 seconds.
That's pretty good. How many out of how many racers, where did you finish? Do you know that?
Oh, hold on, I can tell you.
Type, look it up.
There were... Oh, maybe this doesn't. 1,237.
Okay.
And I placed 656.
Hey, that's like halfway through the pack, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm horrible at math, but that sounds about halfway.
Yeah, it's about halfway.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. That's a pretty cool accomplishment. So, let's say you were to run the race again coming up this year. When would someone that just finished the 50-mile start training again? Is it immediate? Do you stay on it? Do you take a little break like yourself? Or what do most runners do in that situation? Or at least what do you think should happen?
Last year, actually not even last year. I started training 2023 in November. It was, well, not even that. It was August because I texted my coach and I was like, hey, I really want to run this. And he was like, well, I don't think it's going to be feasible for this year. He was like, but definitely next year. So I started training for it in August, and then last year in January, so around this time last year, I got injured and playing volleyball, coincidence. And I just took a little bit of a break like I am now, and then I started really picking it back up in March because I took 2 months. It was a pretty not fun injury. So it was March time that I started really training. And then summertime was when I put in a lot of miles. So I would say definitely around April-ish, May-ish. But I mean, it just depends on the runner. It depends on how much they typically run or how good in shape they are, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So you would say the intense training gets a little more heavier in the April, springtime.
I would say more summer, July, August. It was.
Well, that makes sense as the weather gets
so brutal.
It's brutal. What a time to start training for a 50-mile in the dead of the summer.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool though. I mean, at least at the very little, it'll prep you for extreme conditions. Which did you experience any? I think did it snow or rain that day?
It snowed the day before.
Yeah, I thought so.
So it was there was snow in the Appalachian trail.
Yeah.
So that was a little scary. And then there was a whole bunch of safety guys in the Appalachian Trail, and they're don't recommend running on the rocks. And there's people in front of me running on the rocks, and there's me like going into a panic because I'm like, I'm gonna die at this point. I felt like I was going to. So I was like going through these rocks like that. I think honestly that's what took me the longest, but yeah.
Was the trail part the hardest part of the race for you?
Yes, that was the worst, and I knew it was going to be because again, it's a mental thing. Like I tell my athletes, I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I told my athletes all the time, like just don't worry about it. If you are mentally tell yourself you can't do it, then you can't do it. Yeah. Well, I literally went on the trail and I was like, I'm not sure if I can do this. And it was like already 2 miles in, and we were like all up hill, and I was like puffing, and I was like, oh my god, it was like, but it was really nice because honestly, I was gonna quit after the Appalachian Trail. It was like I was 15.5 miles in, and I like assigned people to each stop. There's 3 stops total that people could go to. Okay. And the first stop was the Appalachian Trail after we ran like the entire thing. Okay. And my boyfriend's parents were there. My boyfriend was in New Mexico, so he wasn't able to be there, but his parents were there. And like she had a bag, like I gave her like all the necessities I would need. And my dad was assigned to stop 2. Well, coming down the hill off the Appalachian Trail, I see this Mets jacket and a Mets hat, and of course that's my dad. And I was like, oh my god, my dad is here. So I was like, dad, and he's like running, and he's like, oh my god, like he was like so proud of me, and he told me how proud he was of me, and I was like, well, I can't quit now. Yeah. So I just kept going, and my dad was at every single stop after that. Like he was like, cool. He was telling everybody, he's like, I just can't not be at any stop. So he was like traveling Maryland just to watch me run, and it was great. Cool. Like having my dad as my biggest supporter. I mean, he's my biggest supporter through honestly anything. He's my stats man too for volleyball. So
nice. That's awesome. That's a cool relationship to have.
It is.
And that's like we said, back to that support thing. Like it's amazing the amount of people. A lot of people think the race, they're like, oh, they just run it, but it's way more than that. It's a community thing. It's a family thing. It's a friends thing. Like anybody and everybody gets involved for the person running, and it's really neat to see. So we talked a little bit about your planning because I think I talked to you the day before you actually, or a day or 2 days before you ran the race, and you were telling us a little bit about like what you were doing the next day leading up to the race. What's your schedule look like the morning of the race? Like when you're actually preparing to physically go run, is there anything you do or any type of like superstitious things you do before you run to like, I don't know, give yourself good luck, or I don't know. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head here. Do you eat? Do you drink? How do you like? I wouldn't want to eat. I feel like my stomach would. I mean, I'd eat, but like I wouldn't want to weigh myself down. The lighter, the better.
So I really struggle to eat. That is something I'm like working on, but I ended up eating oatmeal. It was just like oats water.
Yeah. Yep.
And I had that all up until like mile 20-ish. I don't know. Like it was pretty good. Like it lasted me for a while.
You ate it as you ran?
No. I ate it before. But
okay.
I'll tell you, like there were eating stations, and I'll explain that here in a second. But I ate like a little thing of oats before I went into until I went to the race. And I always have like, I have to use the bathroom before I race, like 10 times at least. My dad stops like twice because he's the one who drove me. So he stopped like twice, and I just couldn't use the bathroom. So finally, like somebody let me like into their little thing, and like I don't like using porta potties either. Yeah, so they let me use their bathroom, so I did. And finally, like once that, I was like, okay, I felt like I was able to run now because like my body was like, yes, you're good now. So after that, like throughout the race, I did end up buying these electrolytes the day before the race whenever I went to go pick up my packet. And they actually were like my lifesaver. And it was like electrolyte salt tablets. Like it was like, I don't know, it was a berry flavor. And it was like my saving grace. Because if I didn't have those, I don't think I would have made it.
Wow.
So that was really nice. And they had like a whole bunch of eating stations like at every certain mile. And there was a lot of just carb stuff, like cookies, and there was fruit. I just really remember cookies, and I remember M&Ms. M&Ms was my go-to because I just love M&Ms. So I ate that, and I knew that settled well in my stomach because I've done that before whenever I was eating, or eating when I was running. So I really ate a lot of M&Ms, and I ate a lot of fruit while I was running. Bananas especially. Bananas was a saving grace. They had chicken broth. But I was like really upset because at mile 22, they had like this entire food station. So they had like grilled cheese, they had hot dogs, hamburgers. Jeez. And I will tell you, I did not want to eat. Like, I was like, So I skipped it. I just kept going. And by mile 33, it was like I was starving. And my dad was at mile 37, I believe, or 38, one of the two. And I just start sobbing. I'm like, I'm so hungry. Like, there's no food.
I'm surprised your dad didn't go back and get you something.
He was going to.
I was going to say.
He was going to go and stop somewhere. I was like, stop too. He's like, do you need me to get you anything? Do you need me to get you anything? I was like, no. He's like, I'll get you a protein bar because he knows how picky I am when I eat. He's like, I'll get you a protein bar. And I was like, I can't eat that. Like, it's going to go through my system and it's going to hurt my stomach. Like, I can't do that. Yeah. So he felt really bad because he didn't know what to get me. But the one thing I asked for at the finish line was a soda. And I never drink soda, but everyone was telling me how great a soda tastes at the end. And I forgot.
Oh, Dad.
It's fine. Like, it made up because at the end of the finish line, I saw my uncle, I saw my aunt, which that was a big surprise.
That's cool.
I saw my mom, I saw my dad, I saw my grandma, I saw my sister. I saw Brandon, which is my boyfriend. I saw his sister. I saw his dad. I saw his mom. And then all my best friends were there. So Faith, Donna, and Shira, they all were there. And they all had posters. Like, it was just like such cool. Oh my God, like, this is awesome. Like, it just made me feel good inside that I had that much support. So I was really thankful for that. And then we ended up going to Texas Roadhouse, and I crushed so much food. It was so good.
I imagine.
And it was
it's good when you don't exercise. It's just good in general. Imagine.
I love Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
It just hit different. Hit different.
I hear you. Are you a fan of The Office? Do you ever watch The Office?
My dad does. I don't. I never. Okay. I have watched one or two episodes, but nothing.
There's a scene where they run they make up a marathon and they run it, and Steve Carell, the lead guy that plays Michael Scott, he carbo loads and he eats a bunch of Alfredo before he runs. That's what I imagined whenever you said there were food stations, like all this pasta just sitting there waiting for people to just stuff their faces with.
That's funny.
Do people actually stop at those food stations, or do they continue running? They just stop and eat and then go?
They stop and walk and eat, quickly. Okay. And I don't know how they can eat that quick, and I don't know. Yeah. It was...
So do they? I'm assuming they have bathrooms set up along the way too, right? In case
they have porta potties, yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which next year I will be bringing hand sanitizer because they didn't have any in there, and I'm just such a germaphobe. Like if I do it this year, But hand sanitizer would be a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to also tape my toes the night before.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that a little bit. So could you walk the next day?
I'm trying to think. Could I? I think I could.
Or did you wheelchair everywhere?
No, I did. I was limping, but honestly, I needed the walk because if I would have laid down all day, I just would have been I wouldn't be able. I don't think I would have been able to move at all.
Moving, yeah. Well,
I ended up going to work that Monday.
Oh wow!
And I actually was kind of glad I did because my kids were so hyped. They were like, "Miss Helman, what did you get on your time?" Because they all did a competition. It was awesome. And there was one person who was so close. He was off by 2 minutes.
Oh man!
And,
wow.
It was great. And he said, "Well, my mom ran this before, so I knew every route that you were gonna go." And
cool.
he was just it was really cool, how he was describing it to me. But it was good that I went to work the next day because I just was, I needed to because I did not want to lay down in bed all day.
Yeah, it kind of takes your mind off it, getting up, moving around, doing something like a normal routine. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I commend you because I got sore this past holiday season just putting Christmas lights up. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it. We put Christmas lights on the roof, and I'm I lay up there, and you're in this certain position for the longest time, and then the next day you're like, why am I sore?
Yeah.
All I did was put Christmas lights up, and it's like, oh.
Using different muscles, you know.
Yeah, muscles I don't ever use. And our hot water heater actually broke last week. I think I told you that. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, I saw it on your Facebook, and I was like, oh.
And we had to drain the hot water heater. My mom and dad came over and helped me clean it up because my wife Casey we had the kids at home, and it happened at bath time. That's how I figured out everything was going wrong, because I knew I paid the bills. Like, it wasn't a water bill, it wasn't an electric, so, or whatever, gas bill, whatever it runs on. So the only other thing, it clicked in my head, and I ran downstairs, and there was literally our basement's finished in the middle, and the outside is unfinished, and because there used to be oil heat in the house, and we transferred it over a couple years ago to gas, like electric gas, and then so like the outside is all unfinished. There was water on 3/4 of the way all around the outside. Now, we don't have anything like super valuable over there. Just a bunch of like boxes and old, like, anything that's not in like a bin that would be safe. I didn't really care about, but it was just the cleanup that was annoying.
Yeah.
I think I spent 4 hours down there sucking up water, and it's all at night. I was up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was the next day was horrible, but we got it all taken care of. We got a new water heater in. Everything's cleaned up.
Good. At least everything's good now.
But yeah, I had to bend down in that catcher's position, because I'm draining the hot water heater. We must have been doing that for an hour, because the thing's gigantic. It's like 40 gallons.
Oh my gosh.
So we're draining it, and at the time I'm like, oh, I'm nothing. I squatted down like that for a while. I don't hurt. But then the next day I could not figure out why my legs hurt, and I just chalked it up to I was moving around a lot and standing, and then I was like, wait, I was in that squatted position again, just like Christmas lights. But yeah, nonetheless, we're good to go. But no, congratulations on the race. It's an awesome accomplishment. So I would assume your favorite part was probably your dad in the end, right? When you had all your surprise, your aunt, your uncle, all your boyfriends, relatives, or not relatives, family was there as well. But what was your least, besides the trail part, what did you least like about the race? Like, if you were to tell anybody, look out for this, like a new racer, what would you tell them, or what kind of advice would you give them? Don't do it.
No,
I'm kidding.
I don't know. I want to tell them not to do it, because I feel like everybody should experience it once in their life, just to like see it. I'm already making my boyfriend hike it with me this summer. Just like parts of it. Like, we're gonna do parts of it each time. I'm trying to think.
Well, it seems, if you don't mind me interjecting, it seems like a good piece of advice to give, just as coming from somebody that's never ran it, but just hearing everybody's experiences. Take it in stride, like you said, because nothing's going to go as planned.
Right.
And just try to enjoy it. That's how I see it, just from my perspective of hearing your stories. And I just enjoy every minute, even the bad minutes, even the horrible trail part. And because now you're looking back on it and you're laughing like, oh, I did it. Like, I got through it. And you had cool people there, your dad and all your support group there. You were looking out for them, and you saw them, and that changed your whole perspective. Because after that, you didn't want to quit. So yeah,
I would just say, like, talk to people. I mean, that was one thing I wish I would have done more, is talk to people. I didn't really talk to that many people. Like, I've talked
before the race.
Like, just during the race.
Oh, during.
The whole time. Like, there's people, you're walking unless you're a super pro.
Oh, okay. People, I was like, people talk when they run? Like, walking.
Yeah, like,
okay.
I mean, you're at a pace where you can talk typically. But, like, I want to get to know more people, and I didn't do that, and I wish I would have. So that's one thing I definitely would tell somebody to do whenever they run it. Like, talk to people, get to know people. It's not just people from Hagerstown. Like, there's people from all over.
Right. Cool. Well, congratulations again. Thank you for coming back on the show and letting us know how your experience is. You're welcome. Let us know if you decide to do it again. And who you're dragging along with you that doesn't want to do it. No.
Lots of people run it next summer. He's going to do it. And
I was about to say, you should make him run it with you. He didn't have a choice.
He's like, no. So hopefully find somebody. I don't know if it'll be this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah. Well, if you go again, good luck to you again. And thank you again for coming on today. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.